What is going on, Crimson City? My name is Crimson CBAD, and in today's video, guys, I am bringing you our team builder for week 2 of the GBA. Your Detroit Steel Wings are currently 0-1, and we are going up against a really exciting match. We are going up against Gym Leader Gio and the San Francisco GiEnteis. So, before we break down this team analysis, if you guys would like, make sure you not only like the video showing your support for these GBA type draft league uploads, but also make sure you guys are subscribed so you do not miss out on future content regarding all this stuff. And with all that being said, let's get right into the video. Alright, so I took a little bit of your guys' advice on what you wanted to see from these breakdowns and just talking a little bit about it. So I should have Gio's team on the screen right about now. He has a very solid team, in my opinion, of Tapu Fini, Salamence, Arcanine, Conkeldurr, Ferrothorn, Gengar, Bronzong, Heliolisk, Umbreon, Aerodactyl, and Gyarados. So, and his Z captain is Salamence. So, all that being said, looking at his team, doesn't have much. He doesn't have an electric immunity. So, Magneton is about to have a field day on this team. What is scary is that I have a lot of physical presence on my team, and he has 3 Intimidate users that, 2 of which have access to setup moves, so it's really easy for him to force a switch and set up. So, kind of hearsay. He does have one of the better, in my opinion, bulky waters in the game, Tapu Fini. There are obviously solid bulky waters, but Gen 7 people want Tapu Fini. He does have a really solid bulky water in Tapu Fini. Arcanine, fantastic mon right now in the meta. Fantastic. Conkeldurr is always such a huge threat. What switches in to a base 140 attack Pokemon? I don't know, especially with access moves like Drain Punch, the Elemental Punches, Earthquake, Stone Edge, all that fun stuff. Arcanine even. Arcanine, like I said, Arcanine, Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn's really interesting because we do have Magneton for the trapping. We do have 4 times weakness, so he could bring it, he cannot bring it, I'm not sure. Gengar is an interesting choice because it lost its Levitate ability. It is fast, it does have the ability to pick up KOs. Unfortunately, it does get Pursuit trapped quite easily. By things like Crocodile and stuff. He can turn around and counteract it, but if I'm bringing a bulkier Crocodile that can take an Energy Ball or a Dazzling Gleam or even a Focus Blast, turn around, hit it with a knockoff, hit it with an Earthquake, something like that. Focus Sash Gengar is something to worry about though, because excuse me, it does have a really nice speed here with being base 110. Bronzong, really nice, except for the fact that my Z Captain kind of shuts it down. Both my what people have been referring to as my UU offensive core of Entei and Crocodile, both kind of shut down Bronzong. So, I mean, even Crocodile alone shuts down Bronzong. If it's Levitate, I've got Dark Stab. If it's Heat Proof, I've got Ground Stab. And if it's Levitate, I also have Entei in the back if I choose to bring it. Heliolisk, another very interesting mon, base 109 special attack, 109 speed. Good speeds here. Has a lot of access, does a lot of cool things in weather. Whether it's rain for the recovery, sand for the accuracy, or sun for the extra damage boost. Has a ton of coverage moves that are super awesome, and I like it. Umbreon, the bulk. What are you going to do about an Umbreon? I don't know. Umbreon does, the Foul Play, Toxic Wish, Protect thing. Aerodactyl is a really cool mon, 105 base attack, 130 base speed, so really fast Pokemon there. We got to be careful for Aerodactyl if he does bring it. And then the late sleeper pick, Gyarados, 125 base attack, 100 base special defense. So if he decides to run a bulkier Gyarados with an Intimidate set, that's definitely going to put a lot of pressure on our team. So, one of the things that I learned last week when I was battling Chris was that identifying my win conditions is something that I definitely want to get better at. And I think this week we have that ability. We have that potential to identify a win condition. I'm going to slowly go. Let's actually start at the back of the team and work our way up. Let's start at the back of the team and work our way up, because I'll talk about the win condition here in a second, in my opinion. We have a very defensive Sylveon here. Protect, Hyper Voice, Baton Pass, and Wish leftovers. Damn near max HP, max defense, Bold Nature, 48 in speed. The 48 is to outspeed an uninvested Umbreon. So we can just hit that thing with super effective Hyper Voices. It is super bulky. I don't remember the calc off the top of my hand, but obviously there's going to be some trading back and forth there. His physical threat is Conkeldurr. It gets Poison Jab, which is bad. We can kind of leftovers protect, stall this thing. We can maybe pass a Wish around if need be. Wish passing is going to be crucial, in my opinion, for this matchup. Other than that, what's his other physical attack here? Aerodactyl can hit this thing really super hard. Arcanine as well. Arcanine can pretty much take this thing on 1v1 if it is a defensive set. If it's an offensive set, obviously he can do more damage than that. But Sylveon is there for Wish support, being able to pass that, baton passing around. If I can predict switches and get the baton pass off, keep the momentum in my favor, that's going to be absolutely crucial for this matchup. Next up here is Volcurion. Volcurion the Magna Warrior. Rocking that Choice Specs Analytic ability, he's got Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, HP Fire, and Toxic, 128 base HP, 252 modest, and 128 speed. 128 speed once bottle capped outspeeds an uninvested Tapu Fini. So I'm really looking forward to that. If he brings a speedier Tapu Fini, that's going to be different. And I was debating between either Modest or Timid Magneton. And if I ran Timid, I could outspeed a bulky Arcanine. If he's uninvested, like a max HP, max attack, like Choice Bandit type deal, I could outspeed that. Get off a Volt Switch with the Choice Specs. But if I'm slower, I get an Analytic boosted Choice Specs stab Volt Switch off on something, which he has no switch-ins for. So really good right out the bat. In any scenario, if he leads off with something that I feel is slower or can't really touch my Magneton, I'm probably going to lead with Magneton and just click Volt Switch. If he leads off with something that, like I said, if he leads off with, like, Salamence, if he leads off with, I don't know, what else threatens this thing? Focus Blast, Heliolisk, Focus Blast, Gengar, obviously. Things that generally outspeed me that can pretty much eat a hit. I won't lead off with that. I'll hard switch out. But if he leads off with something that I know doesn't want the hit, or I know if I can take the hit from it, then I'll lead off with it 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. I don't see a scenario where I don't lead off with Magneton to just get that damage off right out the gate. Right out the gate. Volt Switch, obviously, like I said, for the switching initiative. Thunderbolt, very powerful stab move. Hidden Power Fire not only hits Levitate Bronzong, but it also hits Ferrothorn very hard. I don't know if he'll bring one or even both of those, considering I do have the ability to trap it with Magnet Pull, and if he does, probably a Shed Shell set, so we'll see how that goes. And then, honestly, I didn't really have anything else that I wanted to do. Flash Cannon wasn't necessary, because his Fairy gets hit super effectively by Thunderbolt. Aerodactyl gets hit by Thunderbolt pretty hard. Everything gets hit by Thunderbolt very, very hard from Magneton. So what I decided to go with was Toxic. Aside from Gengar, Bronzong, Tapu Fini, if it does have the Misty Terrain up, and then the Ferrothorn, I can Toxic everything on his team. I expect him, if he does bring Conkeldurr, to bring a Sheer Force Life Orb set. It absolutely destroys teams. So Toxic will be able to whittle this thing down. I won't give it a Guts boost. I can Toxic set up sweepers like Salamence. I can Toxic the Heliolisk, put that thing on a timer. Umbreon as well. I can get a Choice Scarf Toxic off, or Choice Specs Toxic off. I don't know why I said Scarf. I don't know why I'm even saying Choice Specs Toxic. I'm going to Toxic off on the Umbreon, and its Synchronized will not re-counter me, so unless he's running Heal Bell on the Umbreon, that thing will be put on a timer. And then same thing with like an Intimidos. Intimidos is the new word for Intimidate Gyarados. The Toxic off on the Gyarados if it is a defensive setup sweeper. I ran a few skirmishes where there was a Rest Talk DD Gyarados, which would be kind of shut down by if I locked into Toxic, but Rest Talk DD Gyarados doesn't take a Analytic Choice Specs Thunderbolt either. So, like I said, I could have put more in defense or special defense, but honestly, I want to just even out this thing's bulk, give it an odd number of HP, so that way it can come in on rocks if it needs to. 252 special attack modest, like I said, just to get the most absolute just bang for my buck with that Choice Specs Analytic boost. Like I said, step one right out the gate, lead off with my Magneton, get a huge hit off on something, just absolutely brutal, and then make picks with my other. I'm playing this match like a game of Overwatch. Get a huge hit off on something, make my picks, capture the objective. That's actually how I'm playing this game. That's crazy. Next up to take those picks is a Life Orb Tornadus Therian, rocking that Regenerator ability, HP Ice, Sludge Wave, Heat Wave, and Hurricane. 76 in HP, 4 in defense, 252 special attack, 4 in special defense, 172 in speed with a timid nature. I believe we are outspeeding everything except for Aerodactyl. So at 179, I believe we are outspeeding the Gengar. Yes, at 179 we're outspeeding a timid Gengar. Aerodactyl is the only thing that outspeeds this. We can't naturally outspeed it unless it's a Scarf, obviously. Then that's unnatural outspeeding. Ha ha ha. 76 in HP again for the bulk. I probably should have ran 80 instead. The 4 in the defense, 4 in the special defense was fine. If there are rocks up, I do have Regenerator. Life Orb is going to be doing 16 points of damage every time we go off. Life Orb does 10% of my health, but it does give us that extra 30% boost. After rocks, it OHKOs Salamence with HP Ice. Let me get the team back here. Hold on. After rocks, it does OHKO the Salamence with HP Ice. If it's a very like max HP or max attack, max speed like Jolly setup, if he doesn't have bulk behind him, it does have a chance to OHKO straight out the gates. But if he has a more bulky set after rocks, it will OHKO. Sludge Wave is there for the Tapu Fini. Definitely want to have something to hit that with. That's going to be really awesome to be able to use. He does have the immunities in, like I said, Bronzong and Ferrothorn, so that's something to keep in mind, but we do have Heat Wave for both Bronzong and the Ferrothorn. It also does hit if he is running Dry Skin Heliolisk. We also do have that ability to get extra damage off with the Heat Wave. Hurricane, I was really debating Air Slash over Hurricane. Guys in the front office said if you're a man, you're on Hurricane, and I was like, well, I'm definitely not a boy. So went with Hurricane. Hurricane, Air Slash obviously has a less chance to miss. Hurricane, however, picks up kills that I needed to. So there are going to be situations where I can either click Hurricane and pick up this kill, and if I miss it, I lose him on. But like Air Slash, if he's running like an AV Congo set, like a basic max attack, max SPDF conk set, Air Slash will not pick up the KO. Hurricane will pick up the KO after rocks, absolutely. It also hits everything super hard. His flying resist is Aerodactyl, Bronzong. Heliolisk is super frail, so I wouldn't even consider that yeah, no. His and his resists are super frail. And like I said, Bronzong resists it, but I do have Heat Wave in the back for that. Max special attack, I already talked about outspeeding Gengar, stuff like that. Regenerator Life Orb is going to be nice. I wanted U-Turn to kind of pair in with Magneton's Volt Switch just to get that switch initiative off if I can predict switches, but it was 4 move slot syndrome. I can safely withdraw Tornadus from almost any situation because I do have checks for a lot of the things on his team if need be. So U-Turn was kind of like, we don't need it. Let's just use the 4 coverage moves and be fine. Next up, very interesting set here. Crocodilius, aka Crocodile, our Z Captain, with the Rocky MZ Intimidate ability, Stealth Rock, Stone Edge, Earthquake, and Knockoff. He is running 244 HP, 20 attack, 204 defense, Impish Nature, 12 special defense, and 28 in speed. 28 in speed, I believe, was an uninvested Arcanine. Yes, 28 in speed was an uninvested Arcanine. With the spread of the HP into the defense, Impish Nature boost, into Intimidate, we can actually take things like waterfalls from the Gyarados. If we can get the Intimidate off on the switch, we can take close combats from Choice Banded Arcanines, even with the Intimidate drop. With this spread up, we can eat hits from Salamence as well. With the spread, we actually live a Supersonic Sky Strike from a Salamence after the Intimidate drop. If he does get a Dragon Dance up, we still even live that. We're able to get rocks up with this thing. Rocky MZ, we can either go for the Stealth Rocks if we want to, which gets up rocks, boosts our defense 1 stage. That's like a last case resort if for whatever reason we need to. Get our defense boost, be able to eat a hit. But the plan is to a big hit off on something like Salamence, Gyarados if he's bulkier, Arcanine, things like that. Things I can pick off with a rock weakness. I can go for that Continental Crush. Earthquake and Knockoff, obviously for the dual stabs, Knockoff is going to be huge. Going into this matchup, being able to knock off choice items, life orb items, recovery items, residual recovery, even potentially a situation that I anticipate is something like Ferrothorn if he's a Rocky Helmet set. That kind of doesn't work with what I have in mind. You'll see when I get to Cobalion right here, or in 2 Mons, I should say. But if he does have the Akaberry, then I can knock that off, and then Magneton will then proceed to OHKO with an HP Fire. Stuff like that. This is a really good defensive Mon check. He has 3 Intimidate users. I would anticipate him to bring at least 2. If he brings 3, that's, I mean, like I said, perfect. I have a lot of physical presence on my team. Physical attack is how I plan on winning this matchup. And 3 Intimidate, going up against 3 Intimidate users is kind of like, why would you do that? But I do have, like I said, we'll talk about my win conditions here in a second. Crocodile being able to intimidate things that can set up on me is also really huge. Knockoff recovery items, like I said, life orbs, choice items, all that fun stuff. Earthquake and Stone Edge, 2 really powerful moves. He doesn't really have good Quake Edge resistances. Like I said, it also shuts down his Bronzong if he does choose to bring it between like Knockoff and Stone Edge and stuff. So we can get a huge hit off on stuff like that. Gyro Ball isn't doing much. A -1 explosion isn't going to do much with this set either. So next up, I do want to talk about a very interesting set here. I do have Nico main the Slowking, rocking that Assault Vest Regenerator ability. Ice Beam, Scald, Psyshock, HP Electric. For the longest time, I was debating between HP Electric or Fire Blast on this thing. And well, really quickly we can talk about, it does have 244 HP, max defense, and 12 in special attack, bold nature. It was 4 move slot syndrome. What do I want to bring? I can bring 4 coverage moves. What do I want them to bring? First off, the special defense on this thing, through the roof with the Assault Vest, pairing along well nicely with that base 80 defense and the base 95 HP. Ice Beam coverage, he can hit the Salamence. He can also hit the Ferrothorn for neutral damage. The plan is I want to get rid of these like grass types, the steel types before this thing comes in, because I decided to run Hidden Power Electric over Flamethrower or Fire Blast. Scald for stab. Scald also does damage to the Arcanine. It can burn the Conkeldurr. It can get off burns and anything. The only thing I got to worry about is Dry Skin Healerless coming in on a switch. Psyshock is going to be awesome if he does bring a Calm Mind Tapu Fini. I can just counteract that with Psyshock being able to get chip damage. It doesn't have reliable recovery outside of leftovers or rest. So Psyshock will be able to wear that thing down. I can take hints from it because of the Assault Vest, depending on how far he does set up. Obviously, this set does kind of get shut down by Umbreon. It does invite Umbreon to come in and be able to pass a wish, which is something I don't want. And then Hidden Power Electric is for the Gyarados. I didn't really have anything. I wanted something that could take a hit from the Gyarados and be able to fire it back, because like I said, certain Gyarados sets do kind of take this team down. And that's not something that I want, especially like I said when we start talking about Cobalion. I definitely don't want a Gyarados set to be able to shut us down. It's a backup to Magneton. Magneton can take a hit provided he does run Earthquake. I don't know why he wouldn't run Earthquake on Gyarados, considering my 4x weakness he gets coverage for, and if he doesn't have coverage for that, I have a fire weakness. I mean, I just combat it with Thunderbolt or Volt Switch and knock it out of the park. But this is another check, like I said, defensively for his team. It handles Tapu Fini very well with Psyshock and HP Electric, a combination of the two. Obviously, I can't fire off as many status and conditions as I want to. I wanted to bring like something like T-Wave. I wanted to bring another Toxic User just to whittle down some of his bigger walls. But that Misty Surge is something to keep in mind this matchup. So I can't lock myself into a position where where I'm banking on a Scald Burn and Misty Surge up. But these are things that I need to keep in mind because terrains are still so new to Draft League format, at least for me. So that is something that I do need to keep in mind this matchup. That being said, this is our Mon that is going to be our win condition. In my opinion, this is going to be our win condition right here. Super Warline the Cobalion, Lumberry, Justified Ability, Rock Polish and Swords Dance, Dual Dance, Stone Edge and Close Combat, 4 in HP, gives us an odd number amount, max attack, Adamant, 140 in defense, 108 in special defense, 4 in speed, just because the EVs don't go to waste, I don't need the 4 in speed, but they didn't go anywhere else. So, let's talk really quickly. With some of this defensive investment, we can take hits from Tapu Fini. As far as Moonblast, Hydro Pumps go. From full, I believe we can take 1 Hydro Pump. I gotta rerun that calc, just so I don't go into the match thinking, oh, I can take a Hydro Pump, it's fine. But we can eat a Moonblast from this thing with this defensive investment. We can eat hits from the Gyarados. We can take a Waterfall from the Gyarados. Can't really take an Earthquake from it. But here's the thought behind this. So he has a Bronzong and he has a Ferrothorn, both of which are walls. He also has an Umbreon. So Ferrothorn, Bronzong, and Umbreon. These are the 3 Mons I need to keep alive for this thing. I need to make sure that any Intimidate Mons he brings are gone, because he can switch around and do some shenanigans. But if I can bring in this thing safely on Bronzong, Ferrothorn, or Umbreon, I mean, we could even take a Foul Play from an Umbreon, if need be. The only reason I'm bringing Lumberry, I was going to do something like Life Orb or Leftovers for the recovery. I didn't want something like a Ferrothorn Thunderwave or an Umbreon Thunderwave crippling our chances of sweeping with Cobalion. So I brought the Lumberry because in a worst case scenario, I start setting up, he gets the Thunderwave off, then I know, okay, I need to take this thing out before it proceeds to cripple me. Because even if I set up 2 Rock Polishes, that'll be fine. It only half the speed now, it doesn't quarter the speed, which is great. The plan is to set up 1 Rock Polish, because at 1 Rock Polish, I outspeed the entire team. Even his Scarfers, I believe. Even if he has a Scarf user, I outspeed the entire team. With this, let me double check that math. 129. 129. Let's ask the phone. 129 times 2. That brings us to 258. Yeah, there's nothing on his team that touched that, even with a Scarf, even Scarf Aerodactyl. Well, hold on before I sound stupid. Scarf Aerodactyl. I don't think he's gonna bring Scarf Aerodactyl. Okay. Aerodactyl pops off at 200. So he would be 300 if he ran Scarf Aerodactyl in this scenario and had Earthquake. This is the one check to this, I suppose, is if he ran Scarf Aerodactyl. I don't see Aerodactyl coming to this matchup, to be 1000% honest with you. I have Intimidate users, I have things like Slowking, I have Magneton, I have a lot of things on my team that can handle Aerodactyl really well. I don't see it coming, frankly. So otherwise, I would sacrifice some of this bulk to be able to outspeed that after a Rock Polish. But after a Rock Polish, we outspeed the team. Close Combat, Arcanine, Conkeldurr, Ferrothorn, Bronzong, Healerlisk, Umbreon. Pretty much everything on his team except for Gyarados and Tapu Fini and Salamence can take. So Close Combat there for the very, very powerful stat, basically 120 fighting type attack. Max attack Adamant, especially at +2. If I get up to +4, nothing's really living. The goal is +2 rock polish, so get up a rock polish, we have +2 speed, outspeed the team, and then being able to get up to +4, because then I completely sweep the team. I've got Stone Edge there. Stone Edge handles things like Tapu Fini, Salamence, Gyarados. I also do have a high crit chance as well. I'm not going to play for the crit. I want to be able to bank on that +4, being able to just knock out. If we do get a crit, it's unfortunate. It's the game we play. But like I said, I want to take care of Intimidate users on his team first. I want to be able to handle those with the offensive things that I have on my team, like Magneton, like Tornadus, potentially even things like Crocodile with that Rock MZ in the back. And then I would very much like to be able to bring this thing in on, like I said, Ferrothorn, Bronzong, or Umbreon. Those are 3 things I can safely set up on because they can't really do much to me. Especially if Umbreon goes, I want to bait in Slowking. I want Umbreon to go for a foul play. I switch in the Cobalion. It's going to do more because I'm super hyper offensive, but it's also going to raise my attack to +1. So then even in a worst case scenario, if I can only get up a Rock Polish and a Swords Dance, I'm still at +3. I still have some rolls landing in my favor. So, all that being said, guys, that is going to be it for this week's Team Builder for the GBA. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, like I said at the beginning of the video, not only leave a like, let me know you guys are digging this type of content, but also make sure you guys do not subscribe. The battle will be up tomorrow on this channel. Make sure you guys check it out. I have a feeling it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic matchup. I've always had great matches up against Geo. It's a fantastic battler. Go check him out. The link will be in the description of the video to his channel. Go subscribe so you can catch his Team Builder and his side of the battle. All that being said, I'm going to remind you to be great and do great. I'm going to let this outro bang, and I'm going to talk to you guys soon. Later.